Hi, Hector. My name is Mar. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mark. It's nice to meet you too.
I saw in your intake form that this is your first time in counseling. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, well, I think that's awesome. Welcome, and I'll make sure to go over all of the details about what counseling is and all of that information for you today, okay? Okay, perfect. So, just to repeat a little bit about myself, my name is Mar, and I am a graduate student. I am currently studying clinical mental health counseling. I'm in that program at Houston Christian University. And part of my training is to do sessions with clients, just like I'm doing with you today. And part of that means that I work under supervision, and also I have to record these sessions, including the one today. The only people that are going to be watching back my sessions are going to be my professor and my classmates. And after the semester is over, we're going to make sure to destroy all copies of all the footage. So is it okay if we record today's session now that you know that?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me know.
Perfect. Thank you for being okay with that. So the next thing is I just want to go and talk about those two forms that you filled out for me earlier. I gave you a copy so that you can go ahead and look at them and follow them with me. But the first one being the professional disclosure statement, and then the NHC intake assessment form that you filled out. And just to let you know, basically the reason or what these forms do is, one, they provide a lot of pretty important information that I get to know about you, and then it also helps you stay informed and comfortable with the counseling process, okay? So, starting with the professional disclosure statement, as you read in it, it kind of goes over what my role as a student counselor is, and it also goes over what your rights as a client are, and it also goes over and it highlights all of the boundaries when it comes to confidentiality. And just to, again, review confidentiality a little bit, basically everything that you're going to tell me and everything we're going to talk about in here is going to remain confidential, except with just a few exceptions, and that is if there's any abuse going on or if there's any threat of harm to yourself or others. I do have to report that. And then lastly, in case of any legal subpoenas, in which case I would have to report. Okay, do you have any questions regarding any of those things?
I do have one question, maybe a little awkward, not exactly pertaining to this too, but I just wanted to ask if there was anyone else that I wanted to reach out to, maybe if I was ever uncomfortable or just wanted to, say anything about our sessions or anything like that. I guess I'm just wondering how I would go about that, or if it's even okay to talk to anyone else here.
Okay. Well, I think that's honestly a really, really good question. And yes, if you ever have any problems, if you ever don't feel comfortable talking directly to me, you can reach out to my supervisor, and I will make sure to provide you with their name and their phone number at the end of the session so that you always have that with you. And I guess I would also want to take this as an opportunity to just explain or just to go over the counseling relationship that we're going to be having. It's really the foundation of counseling in general. So my hope is that you're going to, and I will make you feel comfortable enough with me that you will feel okay bringing up your concerns directly to me. It's important that you know that nothing that goes on in counseling should be making you overly uncomfortable. It shouldn't be anything that you don't feel comfortable sharing, and you should feel okay voicing anything like that, any hesitancy like that to me. Okay. But that was a really good question.
Thank you. That does make sense, and that was my only question. So.
Okay, perfect. So now moving on a little bit, getting started into the counseling. Like I said, I did review your intake form prior to you getting here, and so I saw that one of the things that you mentioned on there is that is that you wrote that you're feeling like you're lacking a little bit of direction, and I was wondering if you could kind of talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I guess I just feel kind of stuck. Yeah.
Okay. So is that, would you say that that stuck feeling, do you feel that kind of at all times, or is that something that you feel particularly during certain specific moments in your life?
I definitely feel like overall my life is dragging. Um, but specifically, I would say to work, yes. That feeling is definitely there regarding work.
Okay.
I've been at the same place for years, and I guess I'm just now feeling like there's not really anywhere else for me to go in the company, or even a want from the company to get me there or anything.
Okay. So what I'm kind of hearing is that you've been at this company for a while and you've put in a lot of hard work and effort, and now you're starting to not be sure where your future in the company is heading, or even if there is one.
Pretty much exactly, yeah. I mean, I've been working since high school. I didn't go to any college or anything like that. Um, and at first it was fine doing that, but now I'm just getting older and I'm almost 30 and I'm just not sure where I'm headed to, I guess.
Okay, well, that explanation helps me kind of understand the weight of the problem and kind of why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. Uh, you're telling me that you committed to working basically right after high school. You kind of built your young adult life around that, and you were kind of set in that way. And then now you're at the point where you're kind of asking yourself, well, what's next for me? And maybe kind of for the first time after high school. So I can see how that can sort of feel maybe disorienting.
Yeah, I just don't see a clear future anymore. I mean, like I said, it was fine for a while, and money-wise, it's okay. But I just always wanted to feel fulfilled, I guess, with work. Um, and I guess for so long, I've just been focused on doing the next thing and just getting to it. That before I knew it, I guess now I'm feeling like this, where I'm just, like I said, getting to 30, and I'm not sure what's next.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Feeling like there's nothing to look forward to, that can definitely be an uncomfortable and kind of a painful experience. And I know you've mentioned feeling tired. Do you think that that tiredness, is that coming like from physical, or is it emotional?
Um, I guess both. I mean, I don't sleep great. I usually stay up late playing video games. Um, I don't know. It's just kind of like this cycle of not having anything to look forward to. I'm just trying to feel fulfilled throughout the day, spending the day trying to get fulfilled, and then before I know it, it's the next day, and it's just that constant cycle. Um, but yeah, definitely. I mean, playing video games, staying up late is definitely a whole cycle. Even if I'm off the next day, I'll stay up for sure and waste the morning. And if I do work, then I'll still stay up and just go to work dreadful and miserable. Um, so.
Okay. Um, Got it. So it sounds like you've kind of ended up in a routine that is somewhat disconnected. you're staying up late, you're playing your games, which feels good, but then the next day it turns into you kind of having to drag your feet, whether it is going to work or if you don't have work, then you are able to sleep in, but then you still end up feeling not so good about that. So it sounds like it's kind of like a cycle that started that might be hard to get out of.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's like kind of like I know it's not good for me, but it's just what I do at this point.
Okay. Well, that is something that oftentimes when we're feeling emotionally depleted or emotionally tired, whether it's for one reason or another, we often end up getting into routines or getting in the habit of doing things that, although they might seem like good relief or make us feel better in the moment, we end up suffering because of it later down the road. And oftentimes, these habits, they are not formed out of anything having to do with laziness or even weakness. They're often actual coping mechanisms, coping strategies that kind of help us deal with our day-to-day life. But eventually, they do end up hurting us. But what I think is really awesome is that you are already showing awareness of these small habits, which is really great, honestly.
I hadn't thought of it like that.
Yeah, honestly, from my perspective and from the things that you've been sharing, I can see that you're carrying with quite a lot. We have the work concern where you're not really sure what your next steps are, you're not sure where your career is going. You're feeling tired, a little bit emotionally, a little bit physically. You kind of have some habits that, although they feel good in the moment, they're creating some other problems that you're having to deal with. So already those problems, it's kind of hard when you don't know, it's kind of hard to navigate them by yourself. And I just want to acknowledge how meaningful it is that you've already kind of taken the first step. You've already come to this first session. You're already starting to identify these small problems that are creating challenges in your life. So I really do want to congratulate you for that.
Thank you. I was really nervous about how this whole experience was going to go because, like I said, it's my first time. So it's just nice to have someone who actually wants to help you rather than, I guess, judge. Is what I'm used to.
Okay, yeah, well, thank you very much. And like I said, I really am glad that you're here and that we've started talking about these things. And now, if you're okay with it, I'd like to kind of take this midpoint as a time to reflect what we've talked about so far. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay. So, like you've mentioned, one of the areas that is weighing heavily on you is having to do with your job and your career. You've been there for years, you've put in a lot of hard work, and now you don't really see a clear path forward. And that's leaving you feeling a little bit stuck, feeling a little bit uncertain. Is that correct?
That's definitely one of the things bothering me, yeah.
Okay. And then the other thing that you've mentioned is kind of your lack of your daily routine, especially like your lack of sleep, you're staying up late, and that's leaving you kind of feel drained during the day, and it may be contributing to having low motivation or low outlook. Do you think that these two issues could possibly be connected?
I mean, yeah, now that we're talking about it, I definitely do think they are. I mean, like I said, when I'm not working, that's still what I'm going to do. I don't have much else going on, so, that's just what I go to naturally, and then, I mean, yeah, it does create that cycle of that sleep pattern, so I'd say they're connected, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that definitely does make sense. Um, Remember that a lot of the times when we are not feeling so fulfilled in our lives, it's easy to get into patterns and find stuff that does make us feel numb or maybe just distracted from our current reality. Um, but even the way that you're describing the things that are bothering you, and the little, like, you're already reflecting on your life and trying to pick out those things that might not be bringing you the greatest happiness, I think it really shows a lot of awareness, a lot of self-awareness, and that's not so easy to achieve for everybody. So I do want to pat you on the back for that, because sometimes those connections are hard for people to make. So I think that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I never said it all out loud before, but saying it all out loud and talking to you, everything is making sense. All those things just feel so good in the moment, I guess. So I'm not thinking of those things.
Yeah, no, and that does make sense. And I mean that this is all part of the work that we're going to be trying to do together. So I really want us to together continue to make space for these problems to come up and for us to try to make clarity out of them. So with that in mind, I'm wondering if you can imagine feeling just a little bit more hopeful, more ready, energized over the next few weeks. What do you think would make the greatest change into making that a reality for you? How can you see yourself as more hopeful? What change would get you there, kind of?
Well, the obvious one for sure seems like sleeping earlier to then wake up earlier, to feel better about my day in general. And then work-wise, I definitely feel like I should get started on updating my resume. I haven't done that and kind of use that as like a excuse in a way. So I feel like that'd be a good first step for that.
Okay, well, I think that those are super great starting points that you've pinpointed. Oftentimes, all it takes is just like little small shifts that can get us to start getting into places where we're feeling better to create those bigger changes. And I think exploring new career possibilities is something that we can also try to look forward to together, something that we can do together in a way that maybe doesn't feel so overwhelming. We can try breaking it down into like very small, manageable steps.
That sounds very good. I feel like I never know where to start.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's something that is definitely completely normal. Like, I've been there myself. Career exploration is something that I have to remind myself it isn't about having all the answers, you know? It's just starting off with curiosity. That's how you can reframe it. Just taking it one step at a time. Maybe when you come in next session, we can just start by exploring things like things that you're passionate about, strengths that you have, maybe things that you don't even realize, or maybe you can start imagining like lifestyles that you wish you already had, and we can try to work backwards from there. See what career would lead you to those lifestyles.
That sounds perfect.
Okay, perfect. So why don't we go ahead and write down those 2 goals for now. If you want to get a piece of paper and a pen. Perfect. Okay. So I think one of them can be improving sleep and energy through changes in your routine. And then maybe the other one can be exploring future career directions, but in a way that is structured but low pressure.
sound perfect.
Okay, great. I think that those are really good goals because they're meaningful. Like they will create the change, and they're starting to tackle the issues that we've brought up in this session. But also, they're very manageable. They're goals that you can start looking into right after this session, and they're realistic in that way. So I just want to tell you that I think that you've shown a lot of courage. This is your first counseling session ever, so the fact that you, on your own, called, made the appointment, made it all the way here, I think that's amazing. The fact that you've been able to talk about your issues too and bring them up, none of that is easy. And I just want to tell you, I really believe that together and honestly by yourself, that you can create these positive changes that you want to see.
Thank you. That really means a lot to me.
I'm really glad to hear that. Okay. So before we wrap today, we only have about 5 minutes left. So I just want to ask you, kind of how are you feeling now that we're towards the end of our first counseling session? How are you feeling now versus when you first walked through the door?
I honestly already feel a little lighter. Just being able to let those things out feels like such a relief. Like I said, I was nervous about the whole experience, but I feel like very hopeful. Like there's a way forward, and like more than that, I'm capable of finding that way forward. So,
well, I think that's really great. That's kind of what I hope that people feel after they've gone to their first counseling session, and I think that really speaks to kind of the power of counseling in general. It's similar to journaling, where you're just finally being able to bring out the things that are bothering you in an environment that you feel safe in. So I think that's really amazing, and I can't wait to continue to work through your issues and also to achieve your goals, the ones that we set forward for you. So I can't wait to see you at your next session. Hector, it was very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'll see you next Thursday.
See you. Bye-bye.